Welcome back to Time Vault Chronicles. In our previous episode, we visited Liverpool, Glasgow, and Belfast, three corners of the United Kingdom where poverty tested the strength of its people. Now we continue our journey through Sunderland and the East End of London to uncover more of the UK's 1950s reality. Sunderland, 1950s, England, UK. Imagine a city clinging onto the edge of the North Sea like a sailor hanging off a ship's mast. That's how you picture Sunderland in the 1950s. Now imagine the ocean's unforgiving waves crashing against the city's soul. This is the story of that time and place where poverty wasn't just a visitor, it was a resident. Back then, Sunderland's heart beat to the rhythm of the shipyard. When the contracts came in, men were employed, mortgages were paid, and kids had enough to eat. But when the orders stopped, those same hands that built ships for the world sat idle, holding out not just for work, but for dignity. It was a tightrope walk for survival. In the shadow of the shipyard, rows of terraced houses stood shoulder to shoulder, a testament to a time when community was as solid as the brick walls that separated their meager insides from the biting North Sea wind. These homes were fortresses against the cold, warmed by the flickering glow of whatever fuel the families could afford, be it coal or even the bones of old furniture. The winds they held down from the sea, carrying with them tales of hardship, forcing their way through drafty windows and leaking roofs. They rattled the chains of the local pubs, too, where the men gathered, not just for a pint, but for solace, for shared stories and silent understanding. It was here in the dimly lit corners of these pubs that dreams went to die and hopes were put on hold, and when the men marched silently to the job center, each step echoed the desperation in their hearts. They weren't looking for handouts, just a chance to prove themselves worthy, to build something instead of being left to watch the world go by. Their faces, withered by the elements and etched with worrying, told stories of long days on the tools and sleepless nights wondering where the next meal would come from. Outside the job center, there were no angry shouts, only a heavy silence that spoke volumes about their dignity and despair. But through it all, it was the children who suffered the most, their innocent eyes staring out from the shadows of doorways, witnessing a world that seemed to have forgotten their innocence. In this city, where poverty held sway, the adults made sure that the children never saw their struggles as burdens, but rather as shared challenges they'd overcome together. It was a time when neighbors were more than just people who lived nearby. They were anchors keeping the community afloat, lending a hand, a cup of tea, or even an extra loaf of bread. They watched over the children, too, ensuring that no one went hungry or stayed warm. The streets of Sunderland in the 1950s were a microcosm of Britain itself, a society grappling with the aftermath of war, trying to rebuild not just its cities, but also its spirit. Here in the face of poverty, the people of Sunderland displayed a strength that poverty couldn't break. They shared what little they had, offered comfort when it was needed most, and carried on with a quiet dignity that was truly inspiring. It was a tough time, yes, but it was a testament to the human spirit that shone brightly even in the darkest of days. Now let's take you to a place very different from Sunderland, yet equally affected by poverty. Welcome to the East End of London. The East End of London in the 1950s was a place where the scars of war were still fresh and poverty was a constant companion. Picture this, the remnants of bombs from the Blitz still lay scattered across the landscape, a stark reminder of the battles fought and lost. Homes were in ruins and families were displaced, forcing many to cram into already overcrowded flats. The buildings were old and worn, the paint peeling from their facades like scabs on an old wound. Inside, the flats were cramped and dark, with shared toilets down dimly lit hallways and courtyards filled with broken toys and makeshift clotheslines. The constant drizzle from the cloudy skies seeped through the cracks in the walls, turning the rooms into damp, gloomy chambers that echoed with the whispers of despair. Yet amidst the grime and gloom, life somehow managed to find a way to thrive. The bustling street markets of Petticoat Lane and Brick Lane were a riot of colors, sounds, and smells. From dawn till dusk, These markets teemed with people haggling over the price of fish, fruit, and vegetables, their voices competing with the rumble of passing buses and the clatter of delivery carts. The air hung heavy with the aroma of frying fish and chips, spicy curries, and freshly brewed tea, a comforting blend that mingled with the chatter of shoppers and the murmur of vendors trying to make an honest living. Here in the heart of the East End, resilience wasn't a choice, it was a necessity. Each resident was a seasoned veteran of hard times, adept at making do with what they had, mending, reusing, and repurposing items that others might have discarded. For many, these markets were more than just a place to buy provisions. They were social hubs where gossip flowed freely, friendships were forged, and a sense of community kept their spirits aloft. To be part of the East End in the 1950s was to be part of a tapestry woven with threads of struggle, solidarity, and an indomitable spirit. It was a place where poverty cast a long shadow, but hope refused to be extinguished. As we continue our journey through time, we realize that poverty, a universal story, but the strength of the human spirit is a timeless constant. These stories from the past serve as powerful reminders of the resilience that resides within us all. And now we want to hear your thoughts. Which city's story touched you the most? Did you find yourself cheering for the people of Sunderland or the East End of London? Or perhaps both? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to Time Vault Chronicles. We've got so many more incredible stories waiting to be uncovered. And by subscribing, you ensure that you're the first to join us on that journey. Thanks for watching. Until next time, remember, history isn't just something that happened in the past. It's a living, breathing part of who we are, and by understanding it, we can better understand ourselves.